Welcome to Fireside Giants. My name is Alex, your host today. Awesome segments on the board. Ask Twitter, you guys, what I should talk about. And some really awesome questions were raised and scenarios that I think are worthy of being discussed. One of them being the future of Evan Engram. You know, what is Evan Engram's future with the New York Giants? I know a lot of people are very down on Evan Engram for a good reason. Guy dropped 11 passes last year and was directly correlated to at least 6 turnovers, including a fumble against Cincinnati. But, you know, Evan Engram is one of the more polarizing players for the Giants right now as their tight end. He's going to his 5th-year option on his rookie contract. And the question is, and everyone's probably wondering, are they going to extend him? Is Evan Engram even worth extending? What is the scenario where maybe the Giants look to deal him during the draft, maybe for another draft pick or to move up? There are a couple scenarios I do want to discuss, and when it comes to Evan Engram, his contract is fully guaranteed. You know, he's making $6 million this season for the 2020 campaign, $6 million, fully guaranteed. If you cut him, you save $0. You know, you don't save anything. It's all guaranteed. He gets all the money if he's cut. The only way that you are going to save any money from cutting him or getting rid of him is by trading him. So another team would consume his cap hit. That's the only way you're getting all that money off the books. So theoretically, you could say, let's trade Evan Engram, and, you know, we'll take that $6 million, we'll roll it over into whatever position you want to allocate the money toward, or maybe just keep it until next offseason so you can sign another player, and then you get some draft capital out of it. You know, you walk away with maybe another 3rd-round pick. Maybe you say you're at 42 on the board, and you're like, I got to move up. I got to go get this guy. He's on the board. Terrace Marshall, let's say, he's who a wide receiver I love out of LSU. You know, you want Terrace Marshall. You want, I don't know, Creed Humphrey or Wyatt Davis, who you think they might select. Evan Engram, buddy, I'm sorry. Send you on your way. We'll cash you in for a couple spots up in the draft. You know, maybe that's a scenario they could look to unfold. But I think that the Giants really like Evan Engram. And while he is a Pro Bowl caliber talent, I don't know, I say that with quotation marks because people always say the Pro Bowl with a little bit of sarcasm or a lot of it. He is a player that is valuable in some assets. You know, he is a solid blocker when it comes to pass blocking. Not a very good run blocker, but he did take a step forward in pass blocking last year, which I did like to see. He's gotten better gradually in those categories, run and pass blocking. He's still not great. He's probably average, which is okay for a player of his size and athleticism. He's more of a pass-catching tight end that has average blocking ability, which is more than you can say for most tight ends at this point. What I will say, though, is if you take the drops away, you know, if you take the drops away, he's a Pro Bowl tight end with no quotation marks. He's a legit Pro Bowl tight end, maybe all-pro tight end. You know, that's the type of player he's capable of being if he gets rid of the drops. And the problem is those drops have been present his entire career. You know, Evan Engram hasn't been able to get rid of those, you know, drops over the course of his campaign of, you know, 4 years. The drops are still here, man. The drops aren't going anywhere. He continues to have those problems, and I don't think they're going away. Anthony was there as well. We spoke to his trainer, David Robinson. He works with Evan Engram, and I asked him straight up. I was like, you know, what is the issue here? Why is he dropping the football? What is it mental? Is it his technique? Is it his fundamentals? And he just said, you know, I don't think it's his fundamentals. I don't think it's his technique. I literally just think it's in his head. I think he's putting too much pressure on himself. He's overthinking it. He's doing little strange things that he doesn't do in practice. He doesn't drop the football in practice that often, if at all. And, you know, one thing that I did notice that he does is right before he's about to catch the ball, he jumps. You know, he like does a little jump, and like that threw me off. I was like, why is he doing that? And it caused a couple incompletions, and I was like, you know, that's a weird thing. Also, his hands, like he looks like he's like a statue, like a gargoyle or something, and he just stands there and like doesn't move his hands. He turns his head too much. He's, you know, concentration drops. Most of them are just concentration drops, in my opinion. But you know what? I really don't think that he's a bad tight end. I think he was one of the only guys that actually managed to get open last season and create separation. Without him on offense last year, the Giants really didn't have any weapons. Like, he was the only guy that actually was able to get open and was physical, and he's a big body, he's 6'3". He was our biggest receiver last year. The drops just really killed us. You know, that was the big one. So I'm really concerned that, you know, it's going to continue. You know, PFF has him at 8 drops last year. I know everyone has a different number for that. 2019, he had 3, but he didn't play the entire season. 2018, he had 3, again, didn't play the entire season. 2017, he had 11. You know, he's had a lot of dropping problems, and those are not going to go away overnight, in my opinion. Now, what do you guys think, though? Let me know in the comment section on YouTube. Do you think that it's worth trading Evan Ingram? You know, what can you get for him? I think maximum, he's going to his 5th-year option. Maximum you're getting for Evan Ingram right now is a 4th or 3rd round pick. 3rd round being the maximum because, again, he has 1 year left on his contract. He has dropping issues, and he's a $6 million cap hit. And with teams really cash strapped right now, they can't afford to add that kind of capital. You know, that cap hit is a little bit high. But again, he's a potentially elite talent if you get rid of the drops. But I don't think going to a new team is going to solve those problems. What his trainer did tell me is that adding Kenny Golladay and John Ross should do him a big help. I think that that's the big thing to keep your mind open about, is that he took a lot of pressure when it came to lifting up the offense because they didn't have enough weapons. Darius Slayton was struggling. You know, they didn't really have... Sterling Shepard was injured. He wasn't playing the entire year. So I think that when it comes to Evan Ingram, he took a lot of that pressure and he took it to the chin. You know, and it really hurt him because he was being force-fed the ball. And let's not forget, Jason Garrett's scheme did not fit Evan Ingram's style of play. A lot of Evan Ingram's throws were in the middle of the field, which I really didn't like. Like, for example, when we're talking 0 to 10 yards out from the line of scrimmage, he was fed 41 passes, 41 targets, middle of the field, 0 to 10 yards on hook routes, hook hitches, just short route concepts right to him. He only caught 28 of them, and it resulted in one interception. So, you know, that was like 2020. Hold on, let me look up these numbers right now. Sorry, it was actually a little bit more, but the numbers go, oh goodness, you guys are going to hate me for this. 43 targets and 0 to 10 yard range from the line of scrimmage. 43 targets. He caught 26 of them. 0 touchdowns. 6 interceptions. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different interceptions are correlated to him being targeted in the 0 to 10 yard range. He didn't have any others. If you look at him 0 to 10 yards on the right, left side, if you look at him in the middle, 10 to 20 yards downfield, 20 plus yards downfield, no interceptions. And he caught the ball efficiently, got some nice catches, he had some touchdown passes. That was the only spot that he gave up interceptions, that he was liable for those interceptions. So why, Jason Garrett, did you continue to force feed him in the middle of the field? This is actually a very interesting statistical breakdown, this depth chart that I'm looking at right now. I'll post it on the YouTube video, sorry. 6 interceptions, 0 to 10 yards, middle of the field. Very, very odd. I think if you use Kyle Rudolph in that zone and then use Evan Ingram everywhere else, you're going to see him play a lot better football. I think that's the thing. You're going to see him play a lot better football, guys. I'm pretty excited to see where he goes with this, and I think that's what the Giants see. He just didn't fit the scheme last year. You know, he just didn't fit it. So that was a really interesting little graph I'm looking at right now. But when it comes to utilizing him in a trade, you have to be confident you're getting somebody who can replicate his production, if that makes sense. You know, I know people say, what production? You know, what did he do? What was his value? He made some nice catches, man. Like, without him last year, our offense was worse than the Jets, and they averaged 14.5 points. We averaged 17.5 points per game. There's only a couple scenarios where I think trading Evan Ingram makes sense. One of them is you drafting Kyle Pitts. If you draft Kyle Pitts, pack Evan Ingram's bags and send him to Guantanamo. I don't freaking care where you send him, but you trade him to the highest bidder if you get Kyle Pitts. And if you get Kyle Pitts at 11, you still have time to strike a trade for Evan Ingram. And teams are calling. Teams wanted Evan Ingram. I know this. Other one, if you go Pat Freiermuth or Brevin Jordan. Those are 2 options that I would say make sense to trade Evan Ingram. But Pat Freiermuth is a little bit of a bigger guy. You know, he's a bulldozer of a tight end. He's not a elite downfield receiving tight end. He's more of a short yardage. He's perfect for Jason Garrett's scheme, in my opinion. He's not Evan Ingram. And, you know, Brevin Jordan is a more athletic tight end. He can kind of push the seams a little bit more efficiently. But again, you know, he struggled in college at Miami. So interesting there. You know, I'm not exactly sure where he's going to land in this draft or what he really would offer, and if he's even worth selecting in the 3rd round. So, you know, this is the scenarios that come to mind when it comes to Evan Ingram. I'm not totally sold on him as a long-term solution at 10. I don't know if they'll extend him long-term. But it can't hurt to see what he does with Kyle Rudolph and to see if maybe that 2 tight end set, which I think where the Giants are going with this, are going to go with a lot more 12 personnel and those 2 tight end sets and really pushing Kyle Rudolph to the middle of the field, short yardage situation. He hasn't dropped a pass in 2 years. And then using Evan Ingram out of the slot a lot more and pushing him up the seams. I really want to see that out of Evan Ingram in this Giants offense when they're developing these route concepts and schematics. So that's interesting, guys. And the next topic I do want to discuss here is trading back. What is the value of trading back in this draft, and what teams could we be looking at? So the Giants obviously have the 11th overall pick. The reports are flying. Analysts are saying pass rushers, playmakers, Micah Parsons. What am I saying? I think that the Giants should sit pretty. Be patient. Don't reach for a player you don't need to take at 11. You don't need to take Jalen Phillips, who's one concussion away from having his NFL career over before it even starts. Gregory Rousseau, most of his sacks came from the zero tech. He's not going to play that position in the NFL. Never played 3-4 outside linebacker. No sample size for them. Stay away from him. Unless he drops the second round, then you take the athletic upside. Stay away from Gregory Rousseau. Azeez Ojulari from Georgia. Love his athleticism. Love his strength. Love his functional strength. I think he has solid pass rush moves, but he's not worth it at 11. Not worth it at 11. If I would take Micah Parsons over any of those guys, because I think he's actually going to be a sick outside linebacker if the Giants wanted to put him there day one and then transition him, use him versatility and that dynamic play style. I think that's what you do. Use him as a stacked outside linebacker and then drop him in. Get creative with a guy like Micah Parsons. Rush him as a pass rusher on third downs. Use him as a run stopper on first and second downs. Do creative things with him. I like that idea. That's kind of how I see it in the 3-4 if you're using the disguised coverages. So there's a lot of things the Giants can do here, but pass rush is not one of the ones that I'm looking at as like, okay, this is a position we should be looking at 11. There's nobody there that screams efficient to me and productive day one impact player. I think the Giants can go with so many other options that will be impact players and make a significant influence on this team day one, like Devonta Smith or Jalen Waddle, even Rashawn Slater if you kicked him into right guard. But, again, I think that Rashawn Slater's stock is rising primarily because of the hype around him right now. I love him as an athlete and a prospect. I think he's actually going to be a very good player. But I think he's being a little bit overvalued because there's not that many great options, and the need for offensive linemen right now is so high. And obviously the quarterbacks going off the board in the first round is going to be insane. There could be 5 guys off in the first 10 picks. A lot of guys are going to drop to us. No reason to reach. John Mara said it best. We signed Kenny Galladay. We signed Adoree Jackson. We have the luxury of sitting pretty and saying, well, we don't have to take a receiver. We don't have to take a corner. We can sit and get the best player available. That's the luxury we have right now. And that's what I think the Giants should be looking at. Sit pretty at 11, see what comes to you, and if the guys that you really, really like are off the board, you can look to a team like the Patriots, who might be looking to trade up. Let's say Justin Fields drops, Trey Lance, Mac Jones, any of those guys. Mac Jones had a terrible pro day. Guy was thrown all over the place. It was terrible, but I don't think teams care that much about the pro day, to be honest with you. I think the game film and what they offer is more in line with what they're factoring into these equations. I think the pro day is more of just a measurable. It's more of like it's like you just go to see the guy, but it's really like if you base your entire evaluation off of a pro day instead of game film, you shouldn't be an NFL scout. That's how I feel about it. Pro days are just glorified like beauty pageants. And interesting analogy there, but you get what I mean. And I think the Giants have an opportunity to say, let's trade back. And if they do trade back, why I like the idea of trading back so much is because this draft class is so deep in a couple categories. Wide receiver, pass rushers there'll be a plethora of them in the second round. A guy like Joseph Asai at Texas, I like a lot. The wide receivers are deep. Like I said, Diami Brown out of UNC, I think could drop. Would be a nice pick. Even Elijah Moore out of Mississippi. And then you have the offensive linemen. You have Wyatt Davis, Creed Humphrey, Landon Dickerson. You have Quinn Miners, who we just interviewed the other day. Really cool-ass guy. Is really phenomenal. So I think that the Giants have an opportunity here to, let's say we go back to 15. There's still going to be amazing players on the board. You can still get Elijah Vera Tucker, JOK. You could get Jalen Phillips, who wanted to go that route. Rashad Bateman, who I'm in love with as a prospect. I think that he is going to be an absolutely phenomenal receiver out of Minnesota. The guy is 6'1", 210 pounds, great frame, great body, great route runner. He's flashy. He can make those one-handed catches if you like that kind of stuff. I think he's going to be phenomenal. I think he's going to be a great player at the next level. And for the most part, if you do get that second round pick from the Patriots, for example, you're sitting there with not only a golden ticket at 15 to get a best player available, just whoever you want to go with. You also have an opportunity to plug 2 positions in the second round, whether it be pass rusher or offensive lineman. So you could say, theoretically, You can plug in the first 2 days, in the first second round, you could plug best player available. You know, let's say it's JOK. Let's say it's Jeremiah Owusu-Karamoah out of Notre Dame. The guy's an absolute stud linebacker. He's going to be one of the best coverage linebackers in the NFL. I think that's where he's headed. The guy is an absolute monster. Pairing him next to Blake Martinez would be sick. So let's say you've got JOK to plug your second linebacker spot. Now your defense is set. You are set on defense. But you're not over yet. You get yourself a pass rusher who has high upside in the second round, who you now can add to that room of Ocean Exhibit, Lorenzo Carter, Carter Coughlin, whatever else they go with on that in that end, Cam Brown even. And then you have yourself another pick where you could go with a wide receiver. You can go with Elijah Moore if he's there, or even Terrace Marshall. If at 42, maybe you trade Evan Ingram, move up to get Terrace Marshall. If the Giants walked away with JOK, Terrace Marshall, and let's say, I don't know, Wyatt Davis or Landon Dickerson or Creed Humphrey, any of those three, it would be a home run draft. A home run. Let me say it more clearly. Home run draft. You get yourself an offensive lineman, a starting caliber offensive lineman day one. You get yourself a high upside pass rusher, and you get yourself a potentially elite linebacker to play with Blake Martinez to shore up that middle of that defense and your 3-4 scheme. You could even, if you're a nickel package, you have your 2 inside linebackers or 2 middle linebackers, and you're doing just fine. With JOK and Blake Martinez, you are good to go. So those are the scenarios that you guys wanted me to talk about today. I thought those were actually super, super interesting. Let's see if there's any others that I can touch on before we sign off here. But let's see. So we had a lot of people leaving ideas for me. Let's see what prospects I do and don't like. The prospects that I don't like very much from East Germany. By the way, Germany is really representing the Giants fan base lately. Their NFL fan base is really picking up. That's really cool to see that it's getting international attention. The guys I don't really like, I don't like Gregory Rousseau that much. I'm not the biggest fan of his. Like his athleticism is great, but I don't like the scheme fit for us primarily. And, offensive lineman, I don't like Landon Dickerson very much. I think when he's healthy, he's one of the best guys, but the guy's always injured. The guy's like a torn ACL, ankle injuries, knee injuries. I don't really want to mess with that kind of nonsense right now. I'm not the biggest fan of that primarily. But it's interesting. There's a lot of great prospects. This draft there's a lot to like. Even Joe Judge said it best in his opening press conference last year, and he said, don't tell me what's bad about players. Tell me what's good about them. Because I want to look at what's good about them and maximize it. That's essentially what he said, and I love that. That's really what I like about Joe Judge. Is he looks for the best in all these guys, and it's really awesome. And another guy asked Don John, why is Mac Jones even considered a top 5 pick? I think Mac Jones is considered a top 5 pick because when reporters asked Jalen Waddle and Devonta Smith about Mac Jones and who was better between him and Tua Tagovailoa, they said Mac Jones was by far better than Tua. Throws a better ball. He's more accurate. He's clutch as hell, motivated. He's fun to be around. He's a fun player. He's a fun quarterback, and he's a leader. So that was interesting to me. I think that he has all the tangible, intangible traits. He's a little heavy, little his body looks like a little Tom Brady-esque. I could totally see him going to the Patriots, to be honest with you, which is super interesting. But I don't know. It's interesting. Hidden gems on day 3 for the Giants. I think Quinn Miners would be a really nice hidden gem for the Giants. This is from Ramesh Chandra. Sorry if I butchered that. Ram Dude 75. And I actually like Diami Brown if he were to drop to the 3rd round. I think he would be great. Joseph Asai is another one who might drop. His name's kind of getting muddled a little bit. Tamorian Terry, he's a big receiver out of Florida. State, so Seminoles. So I think that there's a couple great guys. Ifeadi Melanfonwu out of Syracuse, I think he's a great cornerback, maybe a developmental guy the Giants could look at to plug and play, develop on the back end. I like the upside with those athletics. And my guy Bill Carroll, love Bill, Evan Bravo, he's a big guy in the industry. He asked me, who are the prospects you'd like to see as TE number 2 candidates? I love Pat Freiermuth. I've been saying this for a long time out of Penn State. Pat Freiermuth is awesome. The guy's a bulldozer. I know he had a shoulder injury last year, missed a couple games, but he is badass. That guy is going to be a very fun tight end to watch in the NFL. He's not an elite downfield threat. He's slow, kind of, but I see him as like the next Jason Witten, if that makes sense, but a little bit more power to him. I think Jason Witten, what made him so good was he was such a well-rounded player. I think he was not only amazing in the red zone, but he caught everything. He barely ever dropped a pass. And he also is a great blocker. He was always such a phenomenal blocker. I think that he has a very similar size to Pat Freiermuth, and I think Pat actually will be very, very good if he develops that blocking aspect. If he can do that, I think he'll be phenomenal. Brevin Jordan's another guy I like. I think that he has that athletic upside. He was actually projected to be better than Kyle Pitts going into college. Obviously, that took a little turn for the worse for him. But I do like Brevin Jordan as a third-round pick, I think. I think he'd be a pretty decent option for the Giants. And Philip Santana, my guy, this will be the last question I answer from the fans on Twitter. But he says, talk about next choice if Parsons isn't available that could pair well with Blake. And I said this before. JOK, Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah at Notre Dame is my favorite behind Micah Parsons because of that coverage ability. He's going to be an elite coverage linebacker at the NFL level, guys. If you pair him with Blake Martinez, who's decent in zone, not a good man cover linebacker, he allowed a couple touchdowns last year in Green Bay. I think that JOK is going to be phenomenal. You ask Blake, play the run, contain the run, mitigate big plays. JOK, go match up against the guy's best tight ends. I think he will handle it. He will be able to cover running backs in the flat. It will be amazing to see that defense with JOK and Blake Martinez as your linebacker. So I'm pretty excited about that, guys. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure to subscribe below on YouTube and turn on notifications for Spotify and Apple. Also, hit up the TikTok. Fireside Giants posted a really funny video there yesterday with my girlfriend. She was trying to guess the names of NFL team logos. By looking at the logos, it was hilarious. She thought that the Saints were the Trojans, and she thought that the Browns were the Cardinals and 49ers, which was very interesting. She said the Browns was red. I think she might be colorblind, guys, so I have to have a talk to her about that. But hope you guys enjoyed the video. Have an awesome weekend. I know it's Thursday, but Friday, Saturday, Sunday coming up. Have an awesome weekend. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. I'll catch you guys on the next one.